and welcome to Modelling Misadventures. And in this video I'm going to be carrying on with the FAB1 Rolls Royce from Thunderbirds. Now in the last one we did the silver grille on the front, which turned out okay. And so now moving on, I'm going to do the rear bumper bar first, and then after that we're going to start to work on the interior. Now here's the rear bumper. I made this in a previous episode, and this is going to need a little bit of sanding off to make the edges a bit rounded, and then covered in bare metal foil. Well, I've just spent a good while sanding this, and it's really nice and smooth now. I've done the usual, gone down through the different grits and then done some wet sanding, rounded it off, and now I'm going to put some foil on it. Well, there it is, the rear bumper done, and I can screw that on now. That looks all right, doesn't it? I'm happy with that. Right, it's time now to start doing something about this interior. And the first thing I'm going to do is sort out the base. And I want it to have a carpet look to it. So I bought this red woolen felt. I'm going to put that in the bottom. Now it's actually difficult to know what colour this carpet should be, because you don't really get to see the inside of FAB1 very often, and when you do it's mainly just showing Parker and Lady Penelope inside. But I did find one photo, and you can see that here, where the carpet at the bottom looks to be red, so that's why I've gone with this colour. And there it is, laid inside, and I think that's giving me just the look that I was after. So next I'm going to have a crack at these side panels and try and make those look a bit nicer. Now if you look at these pictures, you can see that the side panels on the FAB1 interior are going to be a bit of guesswork. These are screenshots from the actual footage of FAB1, and you can see that in this model they just used black leather to cover the side panels from top to bottom. But in other models, such as this Amy's model, you can see that there's a strip of wood above the black leather, and the same with this picture from Andy Grimshaw's scale model, and he also has put some wood along the top half. So I think I'm going to go for the combined leather and wood look on this model. Now for the wood part, I found this in my scrap box. This is some thin mahogany veneer. Actually was used on an old kit, build the Red Baron's fighter plane. And I think that's going to look very nice on the interior, along the top part. And for the bottom, I bought this black leather. I'm going to use this for the seats as well, but this should look very nice going down the side panels. Look at that. So I'm going to cut some wooden strips to size and then varnish them to make them look nice and shiny. I've got them varnished. I'm going to see what they look like when we put them on. That's looking pretty nice. Now I need to put some silver trim along these side panels, and I bought some of this aluminium tape. Going to try cutting out some strips of that and see what that looks like. Well, that's that side done, and that lower trim looks red on the camera, but it is actually silver. It's just reflecting off the carpet, but that's finished it off quite nicely, I think. Now it's time to turn my attention to the front console and dashboard, and it's actually pretty difficult trying to figure out what this should actually look like, because you don't really get to see it in its entirety. There are some cutaway drawings like this one, which show the side consoles and the dashboard, and there are some other models like these ones which give you some idea of what it should look like. but to some extent there's a fair amount of guesswork in this. So I've been hard at it on the Tinkercad and 3D printer, and I've come up with, first of all, these. Now these are the side consoles that go either side of the dashboard. So they're roughly about the right shape, I think. I've designed and 3D printed this dashboard, which is going to have some panels and screens and buttons put on it. And I've actually 3D printed this steering wheel. It's in two parts. That's designed and 3D printed on Tinkercad as well. So these are all going to need tidying up and doing a bit of work, but that's the next phase of this construction. Right, onto these things, and first job is to cover these in leather. That's going to save painting them as well. Well, that's the side consoles done. Quite happy with how they look. They look very nice in the car. Now I'm going to cover this dashboard with wood, like this. Well, that's it after varnishing. That looks all right. Well, now those side consoles and dashboard are finished, it's come to a really fun part of this interior, because I'm going to start making some fittings and gadgets that you can see from time to time in Fab 1. So you can see on these side consoles here that there's some holes in. At the bottom here there's what looks to be like a little grill. In these holes there's some dials, so I'm going to start making things to put in there. And then we'll make some other things to go scattered around the interior of the car and on the dashboard. So I've been busy designing and printing and come up with all these little bits. I'm just going to tidy them up, and then we'll start assembling them and putting them on, see what they look like. And I've also printed out this set of images on a piece of photo paper, just some screenshots and maps and various bits and pieces that are gonna go with these printed parts. So I'm hoping when it all comes together it's gonna look quite nice, but we'll see. Well, I'm pretty happy with these side consoles, so I'm excited about the next phase and going to start work on the front dashboard. I'm actually going to put a couple of LED lights in these little holes here to try and create a kind of sat-nav navigation type thing, and then there's a couple of screens to go on either side and a few things to go on the bottom. Now I finished this dashboard, and I've got to say I've taken a bit of artistic license here, because I've sort of crammed in lots of different gadgets that I've seen on the show, but I'm sure they don't all actually appear on the dashboard. But anyway, that's what we've got. We've got a fake GPS sort of guidance system in the middle. We've got a forward-facing camera to track cars. We've got a gun sight screen here, a radio down here, and here a control panel for the gyro and hydrofoils. And then there's a few buttons that who knows what they do. So had a bit of fun with this. I know it's not realistic, and some people might say, oh no, that looks nothing like what it should be, but I don't think anybody knows what the definitive version should have looked like, so it's good enough for me. So next up, a bit of wiring now, and I'm going to wire this into the wires that are already existing in the car. As usual, another cock up. I'm rubbish at electrics. This should just be a red wire coming in and out. It's not a red and a positive and a negative, it's just part of the circuit. So I'm going to take this black wire off and put a red one on. All right, that's a bit better. Now I'm just going to wire up this battery box here. It's going to sit in there behind the seat. And at last, I can finally put these components in. Well, there it is, and there's been an enormous amount of work to make all those little pieces, but I'm really happy with the final appearance. And we got the electrics done. So let's just have a look at them. So I'm going to call it a day there. I hope you enjoyed that video showing the building of the interior components. I certainly did. And in the next video, I'm going to move on and start on the seats and possibly even some figures. We'll have to see. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Modelling Misadventures.